Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to the new CEC. It's so nice to see everybody live and in person. My name is Joseph De Benedetto. I am the former president of the Community Education Council for District 25. And because I am the highest ranking returning officer, I am conducting this meeting. We will, for purposes of this evening, have 3 separate meetings. We will have our annual meeting, which is to vote on the officers of our council, followed by the calendar meeting, which is a public meeting where we will convene and we will take our superintendent's report, and we will also entertain any comments from the public. And following our calendar meeting, we will have our business meeting. So for those that are new on the council, things will move smoothly, so I would not worry. Just go with the flow, okay? So why don't we start with the roll call? So that everyone knows, I'm going to introduce you to Carly, our administrative assistant, and let's start with the roll call, and then we'll make introductions.
Joseph De Benedetto.
Present.
You. Present. If you need me to change pronunciation or name, just let me know, okay? Anne-Marie Knable. Present. Joseph Chu, or is it Chow? Joseph Chow. Present. Song Yun Lee. Present. Fiona is absent. Rashmi Krishnaraj. Present. Michelle Frederick. Present. And Pamela Timory.
Okay, so we do have a quorum present, so we are able to move forward with our meeting and conduct our annual meeting, which is to decide who the officers are. But I first want to start by introducing you to our superintendent who attends all of our meetings, Danielle Domingo. For those of you who don't know her, Danielle Domingo has been cooperative with the CEC. She attends all of our meetings. She gives a superintendent's report, and it's a pleasure to see you, Danielle.
I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Okay. Before we start with our election, I'd like for each one of you to introduce yourselves to each other so we know who we are, okay? So I told a little bit about who I am. Why don't we start, do you mind, Rashmi, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Anne-Marie, and then we'll go around the table.
Hi, I'm Rashmi Krishnaraj. I'm a proud parent of 2 kids who are in PS24. I'm a returning member. As you can see, I was the treasurer last year. I'm very happy to be here, and it's a great opportunity for all the parents who are here to work together for a better cause. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rashmi. And then we have Anne-Marie Knable here.
Hi, everyone. Last term, I was the borough president of the I was joined the CEC in September, so it was a shortened term. So I haven't had quite a year yet, but I'm really happy and excited to have been elected to the community this time around. We have a fantastic district. We have a dynamic council. Again, last time was fantastic. I'm sure that you all are going to be just as dynamic and great. So I'm looking forward to the meeting.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Some of you.
Hi, my name is Song Yun Lee. I'm a mother of 7 years old who attends PS22, and I've been educated in District 25 all my life. I graduated PS21, junior high school 189, Bayside High School at St. John's University, and I'm so happy to be part of the big group where we could support our children in this pandemic.
Thank you, Shirley. Okay, please, Shirley?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Chow?
My name is Joseph Chow, parent of 3. They all attend District 25 school. 1 starting in Harris, 2 are in PS75. Retired from Princeton High School. Mathematically for the last 24 years. My children attend Francis School Elementary. I can't get away from Francis School. But anyway, let's see what happens. I mentioned school here. Hopefully, my retirement I can contribute to the teaching profession from a different perspective, since I know the inner workings of schools. I also feel a very strong department. We were ranked better by my math team. Usually, it's number 2, number 3. If 100 doesn't participate, we get beaten by 7 roughly. We unsigned for 17 years, after which they finally beat us, starting like 2018. My math books is that month, they were specialized now. So, using my experience in field and help old schools, like they said, cash money saved and beat.
Thank you, correct. Thanks.
No.
For those of you, there's a lot of our members of the public here who are natives of District 25, so we welcome you. And everybody is proud to be part of District 25. And yes, District 25 and District 26 kind of go hand in hand, like we compete with each other. I think District 25 is better, but we're all biased. We're parents in District 25. Ms. Frederick.
How's everybody doing? My name is Michelle Frederick. I am the mother of 6, and I know it's a lot. Not y'all, okay, so I have 3 steps and 3 are going and they go to PSI 499. All 3 of them, 3 months. And I am a correctional officer. I am a full-time mother. I am a full-time wife. I go to SLC meetings. I go to this. I go to that. And I'm here, and I'm happy, and I put in training. I'm happy to be a part of it.
So glad to have you. Thank you. And finally, but not last but not least,
Take
Is
the
you-
best of luck.
yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Wayne Yu. You can all call me Wendy. I'm a mother of a daughter who is entering 2nd grade at PS 107. This is my first time at the council. I'm very excited. I just like Joseph. I'm also a attorney in the area, and looking forward to working with the public and also with the council to meet the goals of the Department of Education. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, and welcome. So Pamela is not here, but if she comes, we'll formally introduce her and we'll meet her. And now we will move on to the business of our annual meeting. So there is a script that I have to follow, so I will follow it. It is now 7:17, and this meeting of Community Education Council for District 25 will come to order. My name is Joseph Di Benedetto, and I am convening the annual meeting for the purpose of electing officers. We've already conducted the roll call. Article 2, Section 2 of the Council's bylaws requires that officers be elected by roll call vote at the annual meeting. To be elected, a candidate must have at least 6 votes. Officers remain in position until their successors have been elected. The first order of business is to elect a chair pro tem to chair the election meeting until the president has been elected. The chair pro tem must be someone who is not running for office in the election she or he is chairing. Since the first election is for president, the chair pro tem cannot run for president. Once the president is elected, he can take over running the election from the chair pro tem. Are there any nominations for chair pro tem? And we will accept self-nominations. So does everyone understand what chair pro tem means?
And we'll give you the script.
Yes, exactly.
They have it in their folders.
So I will ask if there are any nominations for chair pro tem at this time. So understand, if you run for chair pro tem, then you choose not to run for an office. Are you okay with that? Okay, so Wing Yu, do you nominate yourself for chair pro tem? Are you okay with that?
Yes, I nominate myself.
Okay, so are there any other nominations for chair pro tem? Do we need to second the nomination? I'm sorry. No, okay.
Is it only for the president that
So-
it can be, or for any office?
For any office.
As soon as the president's elected, the president will take over.
Got it.
She's really.
So then after the president is elected, if she decides that she wants to run for another office, she's able to run because she's no longer acting as a chair pro tem. But then if that clarification, yes. Okay, so are there any other nominations? So when you are hereby the chair pro tem for purposes of electing president.
Show of hands. Show of hands.
Okay, can I have a show of hands of who is in favor of nominating or of Wing Yu's nomination for chair pro tem? So we have a unanimous vote for president. Okay, so now do you have the script in front of you?
Everyone should have it in their phone.
Everyone should have it in their congratulations, Wing Yu has been elected to serve as chair pro tem and will conduct the election of officers for 2021, 2022. Or actually 2021, 2021 is two. This is that date. Okay, so you know where to start. Okay.
Good evening. To elect officers, we will vote upon each position before moving on to the next, so that any candidate not elected to an office can run for others. I will take nominations. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nomination. Nominations do not need to be seconded. If a member is not present but has submitted his or her nomination in writing to the administrative assistant
Yes.
or another member, he or she will be treated the same as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidate's presentation, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on even if there is only one candidate. Where there are 2 or more candidates, each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Example, John Doe and James Smith are running for president. On the roll call, each member will vote for either John or James. The council must not vote first on John, then on James. Members may abstain from voting. If no candidate receives at least 6 votes, we will vote by show of hands on whether to do a second round or proceed to the election for the next office. If a position remains unfilled over 2 or more rounds of voting, the incumbent will continue in the position. New elections for all unfilled positions must be put on the agenda of the following month's calendar meeting until all positions are filled. Is the procedure clear to all the members?
So show of hands, yes?
Yes. First, we will elect the council president. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
I nominate Joseph Benedetto. I nominate Joseph Chow.
Joseph Benedetto, do you accept the nomination? I am
Yes.
Mr. Joseph Chow, do you accept the nomination made by trustee Ruffin?
Yes.
Nominations for the office of president are now closed.
I just have one question because I know that there was a nomination
The young
submitted in
Kim, I
writing.
forgot. Young Kim.
The young,
I'm.
right, right, did you receive that nomination officially in writing?
It's through the email. If anybody has it, I don't have it. I can't pull it up on my computer. If you have the email.
So Juliana is from FACE, right? So she's one who's helping us conduct our elections. So if somebody self-nominates, they're not asked if they accept the nomination, obviously, correct? So now we have 3 nominations.
On the record, we have a total of 3 nominations. Nominations for the office of president are now closed. now call each candidate in alphabetical order to make a statement of up to 2 minutes. The administrative assistant will be the timekeeper. After all candidates have spoken, we will proceed with a roll call vote. Question, is alphabetical order by last name?
Last name. So it will be Joseph, and then Bill Kim.
Mr. Chow, would you like to make a statement?
Sure, good evening. I'd like to run for the president's position because I believe I possess the skills, the knowledge to work with parents, the school administration, superintendency, and everybody to help the students. I always made it a mission that every day I go to work, I try to make a positive difference in people's lives, be it students, staff member, everybody else involved, including parents. To serve, I retired already, I wasn't going to do anything. But I see what's going on. I believe I can contribute greatly to District 25 to help everybody help their child achieve high. I have been at AP there for all the children. I'm confident that with your help, particularly with your help, I can do a great job helping District 25, District 26. By the way, when I started in Mental High School, my mission was to be in the math department, but also they were number one. It took me a month and a half to get better scores than they did. So they lived on their reputation, and they lived on better scores. I survived a long time in the DOE. I think I've seen things change up and down. I've gone through different waves of frameworks, things. I believe I have the knowledge to help every principal help all their children in the building. Thank you.
Mr. Benedetto, your statement, please.
Thank you. So, my name is Joseph Benedetto. I've served as president the past 3 terms. I've been a CEC member for the past 8 years. So I'm somewhat knowledgeable of how things work in the CEC. I have developed strong relationships with our schools and the principals, our elected officials. I know what the issues are in our community, and I understand that as president, we are all equal. All members of the CEC have equal say, but as president, it's often difficult to manage a meeting because you want to make everybody have their say, and you want to be fair to everyone. And oftentimes, you have to put your own feelings aside to make sure that the meeting is handled well. So I know how to manage the agenda, how to deal with issues on the council, and I know what the issues are in our district. And I know that this term, for the past couple terms, overcrowding has been a big problem in District 25. We are one of the highest overcrowded districts in the city, and it is on our agenda. And as president, I was able to work with schools such as PS 32, Bell Academy, PS 169, in making sure that the School Construction Authority made the school build bigger. And they're doing that project right now at Bell Academy, PS 169, and they approved the project at PS 32, which, not to put myself up there, but I've insisted with SCA, I've shown up with the district office, school facilities, and they could not take no for an answer until they said, yes, we can build at that school. When after so many years, they told us that they could not. So, thank you.
I'm going to read Bill Kim's nomination. Dear co-members, parents, and community residents, my name is Bill Kim. I am a legal counsel for criminal and contract claims and an education advocate, and I have 2 children who are currently attending a middle and high school under District 25. First of all, I am so honored to serve my communities and CEC 25. Also, I want to show much respect to the previous councils for their devotion. Frankly speaking, I had no thought of running for the presidency until yesterday. However, I have found that we should change ourselves from the past or the traditional habits, especially the way of handling innovative or a new issue and problem. Unfortunately, I have seen so many times that many schools and government administrators are so accustomed to conforming to a rule and bylaw, not trying to change or modify it actively, even though there are clear and critical disadvantages for the public and our communities in the current situations. You may recognize what I'm talking about. As you know, I have challenged that in-person meeting requirement should be modified and removed from the first day of oath of office. What I have received is that there is nothing we can do because that's state law, no further actions. What I'm saying is that it is not about a specific rule, but it is about our attitude and way of handling a new or innovative motion. Let's consider the reasons why clean education systems and environments have been poor for many years compared to Manhattan, Bronx, and other districts. Why do you think we have not taken action actively against discriminative rules or threats? Number one, because that's not the matter of my own children. Number two, because our selfishness because of our selfishness not to get in difficult issues. Because of our negligence not to change old ways, just stay in the comfort zone unless our own children are in danger. It is my real intention to run for president. If I become president, I will take all action, including legal motions, immediately to change in-person meeting requirements by law into online or hybrid meeting according to new lifestyle after COVID-19. I also believe that it is against the Constitution of the United States if BCC 25 council do action for change. The parents will see us differently and believe, and New York State will treat our clean education differently. Then our children's school life will be changed.
Thank you. We will now proceed with a roll call vote.
I'm gonna call your name and then you say it's who they're voting for, or there's one at a time who they're voting for, right? Okay. So Joseph Di Benedetto,
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Wendy, you,
Joseph the
Anne Marie Knievel, Joseph Chow.
Joseph
Chow.
Joseph Chow.
Go yourself, sorry. Sunami, Shirley. Beyond him, I guess will be self-nominating himself, right? He's not, can't believe it, sorry. Rushing Krishnaraj,
Joseph Chow.
Michelle Frederick, and that's it, I'm not here. Okay, so by vote, Joseph Di Benedetto is president this time, no? Wendy, you voted? Yes, you voted. I have one, two. I have Joseph, let me reread it. I have Joseph Di Benedetto voted for himself. Wendy, Joseph Benedetto, Joseph Chow voted voted for himself. Shirley, you voted for Joseph Di Benedetto. Rashmi, you voted for Joseph Chow, and Michelle, you voted for Joseph Di. So you have 2 votes, and you have 1, 2, 3. You have 5 votes.
So
You
what does that
need
mean?
to vote again.
So you can,
Voting 6.
You can ask, you can do a round of questions. So if you want to ask questions of the candidates, you can, or you can simply take another roll call vote without asking questions. It's up to you guys.
What do our bylaws say with regard to election of officers? And what was the majority? Is it 6 or
It has to be 6.
it has to be 6? So the
Because
bylaws don't, it's different from the rules in our bylaws then.
I think it says,
Yeah, the bylaws say a majority.
right, but the majority is defined by New York State, the New York State Constitution law that says it has to be a majority of the council who would constitute. So you always have to base your majority off of 11.
Although we're only 8 officially on.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So
Does anyone have any questions for the candidate? Otherwise, we will proceed with another roll call.
What was that, what you asked the questions? I will ask a question to Mr. Chow. Mr. Chow, I know that, say something?
Both people will answer.
Oh, both people
There's
will
a
answer.
question
Yes, both can,
about
okay,
the
both
answers.
can, makes sense, okay. So my question is that how this term will change with the new perspectives. I know, you as returning for 3 terms versus somebody who's new, who's coming on the table, how you see yourself doing differently this term, and how do you bring new perspective on the table? So I guess it's the same question. What different do you think will
Would you like to go first?
You can go first, since it's alphabetical.
Thank you. One of the reasons why New York City schools are going down, is because standard has been really lower. Every time the state says we're going to make standard, they're overwhelmed. When I started teaching, it was sequential 1 to 3 math. You have to get, you have a choice of 100 points out of 140. If you do the percentage, it's like 46% equals to a 65. So when they started doing math A, they use 46%. It's a little different than choosing 100 points out of 140 against 61% versus 46% versus just 46%. Then it went even lower. At the present time, I believe to pass the other geometry trivia, you need to know, you need to get 30% right of the exam. The exam is roughly 35 to 40% of the curriculum. So they lower the standard by a lot. Also, in most schools, in the school I work in, besides the math department, the grades students get is no longer a performance indicator. In other words, kids can have a 50 average. Now they can try for class 65, not in the math department. So I believe, when I served as the president, I've been trying to get the superintendent to probably up the standards. There are also schools that taking kids who are ones at high school, that taking kids that are all ones and twos. 94, 95% of kids will be ones and twos. According to the state department, 1 and 2 are not meeting standards. So they're all graduating from elementary school, they're all graduating from middle school. We have to fix that. We fix that not by training kids, by helping teachers help them learn. When I joined, I'm not just here for the kids. I believe all the kids can learn at different speed. You have the fast learner, middle learner, slow learner, and you have special ed students who may or may not have the ability to get these kids to do. There are 3 different diplomas you can get: Regents, local, and IEP. You get an IEP diploma from high school, you can't really get it in college. Regents diploma allows you to go to college. The advanced diploma actually is divided into 2. You have the advanced diploma with honors and the advanced diploma. But also you can go into a 4-year college. Most of the top kids who get into a top tier school, second-tier schools, basically get the advanced diploma with honors. I believe if I join, if I become president, I can help everybody get there. At least the people who should be able to get there. Thank you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
How you will make your presidency different from this what different you will bring on the table? Should I speak up?
You have to speak up, they can't
Oh
hear.
my god. Okay. It's like screaming in Jules Pierce.
No, everyone, when you speak, just project
So
so
that
that
the
the
public
whole
hears.
they can't hear.
So my question is, what different you will bring on the table for next term? How your presidency will be different than previous years?
Okay, so serving as president in the past, I've learned, and you'll come to learn, that we are not a school board. We do not make policy, unfortunately, right? Because that is our position. So that's not one of our roles or functions. But I do know that District 25 is a very high performing district, okay? We don't compare with District 26. And I do know that last term we had a special needs subcommittee that worked hard for those in special needs in our district. And I think we focused a lot on that last term. I understand that we gave everyone a fair word and we changed our bylaws. But I think this term, we're going to focus more also on the average student and the high performers, the gifted and talented. We already changed our bylaws. It's something that Rushby, you were active in, and we allowed for 2 calendar meetings to focus on the special services, the special education needs. I think this term we need to also focus on the high performers and the average students. So if I'm gonna do anything different, I understand everyone has an equal say, so I am not going to have the power to do anything different, but I will entertain hearing from the council on other different perspectives.
Maybe proceed with another, roll call vote. Thank you. Ready?
Joseph Di Benedetto,
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Wendy Yu,
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Anne Marie Knievel,
Just to make that.
Joseph Chow,
Joseph Chow.
Sonia Lee, Rashmi Krishnaraj,
Joseph Chow, here for the same.
and Michelle Kempton. Okay, what do I do?
You can proceed with another round of voting if you want, or you can have additional questions, or we can decide that we haven't elected a president tonight and wait until we have additional members present. So you have three options.
Question. Can we move forward with the other, with the other officers and then come back
Yes.
to, the president?
Yes,
And yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I can ask a question to who, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright. So,
Sure.
what's your specific plan to help the GMP program grow this year?
So as president, I cannot unilaterally have a specific plan. We are part of council. So as president, I understand that I don't make the agenda, I make the agenda for the meeting, but based upon everyone else's perspective. So if someone on the council makes a motion regarding something with gifted and talented, then we will entertain and we will move forward with the role and the wishes of the council. I, as president, and you, if you're president, will understand, you cannot unilaterally make policy. So there's not, the question, I can't answer it because I am not the only one. I'm part of a group, so we as a council have to decide on
So
it.
let me, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question for Juliana. So if another council member has a question, but the question is really going to be, it's just for Joseph Chow, it wouldn't be a question that Joe could answer. How
So
would
does-
that work?
Joseph,
Does
well,
Mr.
they-
Chow
I
have to
guess-
answer
Yes,
the question
Mr.
himself?
Chow should, yes,
Okay.
Joseph Chow should answer it too. So you gave your answer, and now you can give your answer. Mr. Chow.
If it's your
I mean,
question, if I have a question that's more directed to Joseph Chow directly to get more information about his standpoint, it wouldn't necessarily be something that Joe would answer since he's already sitting president.
You should, both candidates should always
Answer
answer.
anyway?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Mr. Chow should answer the question that he
Yeah,
asked
you can
somebody.
talk about GNT now.
I'm gonna have a question after you're done, basically is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, so, maybe I didn't ask the question correctly. What general ideas do you have?
No,
So I
what
gave my
do you mean
answer,
that
now you have to
you
answer the
asked
question.
him a question about GNT, now he gave his view, now you give your view on your own question. Yes, like you tell.
Alright, so I understand it's not a uniform, maybe another decision one person can make. We'll have to make decisions as a group. But I think, the chancellor was very upset that not enough African American got into Stuyvesant. Yeah, totally understand, but I think have a way to fix it. I think if we pull out every single pre-K first grader, testing for 20 minutes, with a much larger pool to choose from. Otherwise, a lot more kids will qualify for the GNP. Number two, to make sure each kid will qualify as a seat. For example, if the school has only 3 kids to qualify or have 35 kids to qualify, they only have 32 kids in the class. They then move that 3 kids, give them a seat in the neighboring school. By fix that problem in high school instead of building additional specialized high schools, which is the reason why the local school are being depleted because of the benefit they go to the hospital. We build enlarge the quotas for the screening program. For example, the Jama High School volume one. I don't know Jama High School that well, but they have a horticulture program. Let's say they are allowed to take 50 kids each year. We extend that to 75 or 80 or 100. Then more of the kids locally, instead of specialized high school, tend to go to local school. That's another way to make it better. But if you expand on the GMP, we can have more people or more kids ready for specialized high school. Thank you.
Yeah, please, go ahead. So my question is for both of you. So being 10 months on the CEC before starting this new term, I think that we're fortunate to have members of the CEC that have returned that can bring their knowledge and experience from the past forward. Mentor from their CEC. So we're not starting out with all of us being new, having to figure this out. We have the leadership of Joe, Rajni, and I'll give myself that because I was on for 10 months. So basically, my question is, Joe is a seasoned CEC member, and you are new to the table. What would you do differently that would bring a level of experience comparable to someone, not just Joe, but someone who's been on the CEC before in the leadership role? What would, looking at the two, why would you not want to, have someone learn from someone for a year in the next election?
I love your question. I retired because I want someone else to take my job there. But anyway, I already made it very clear at the very beginning that we need his help. We actually had last time we had a Zoom meeting, we agreed that we have to help each other because the experience is always great, but you want change. So change doesn't mean better. Change means different. Hopefully change is better. But you need the experience from someone who serve them. Big class. However, I know the back then it was region 3. So at any rate, I would bring changes that are possible, that can be implemented instead of just ideas. Because I worked in school for so long. I would definitely be self-motivated. And I'm a fast one. Thank you.
So I have to answer the same question. So serving on the CEC in the past, I've come to realize that we, again, are not a board. We do not make school policy. We can make a resolution as a recommendation to the chancellor on what the community feels and hopes that the chancellor or the Department of Education will change a policy. But we as a CEC do not make school policy. I've experienced the specialized high school entrance exam issues. I've experienced the issues with special needs. And I've realized that we don't make the policy. We have done resolutions in the past that were heard in the Chancellor's office, but again, that does not change policy. So our role as a CEC, we represent the parents. We have a voice, but we do not make the policy. We can make resolutions, and I think my experience of serving on the council, I know how to make a resolution. I know how to listen to fellow council members and take their positions and even put my sorry, this is really close. Okay, even put my particular interest aside so that I'm not showing favoritism to myself. And sometimes I go against what I personally feel is right so I can have other council members make their opinion and go for the roll call.
Joe, look at the camera and say thank you.
Thank you.
May I just add one thing? Okay,
You gotta pass it now. This is happening. Yeah, but he was gonna say something, so.
I just want to ask something real quick. I understand what you said. I agree. I know we don't make policies, but if the majority of the CECs in the city all come with the same recommendation, it's very likely they're going to change the policy. Thank you.
So then I wanna add on if you come closer.
Someone with Joe, count me.
So having served on the CEC in the past, I've met many other presidents of other CECs. I've actually have been part of a group of Northeastern CEC presidents, and we do interact with each other because we try to combine our needs. But I've always reported back to the Community Education Council, and I've always made a decision, well, not me, but I've always asked for a vote from the council members. I've never done anything unilaterally without everyone else's approval or vote. Thank you.
I believe Shirley has a question.
I have a question. It's more like I want to hear our approach and our opinion of each candidates. We have a problem with PS32, as you mentioned. PS32 is one of the crowdest elementary school. Now, they are under 12, therefore they are not vaccinated. Now, we're, as a parent of a 7 years old, trying to send her back to school this September, and which I am not informed yet how it's gonna be done because 7 years old is very hard to keep 3 feet apart, number one, and number two is overcrowded school. So I don't know how they're gonna do with the kids in one room, how many teachers, and also we are not also informed whether we're gonna have a hybrid or remote or fully going back to school. So this is what before we I thought before we talk about programs, I think we need to first figure out how we are going to solve environment for that program because we just faced inevitable pandemic that everybody suffered, especially I believe especially children. So I just wanna hear out maybe I know we don't have a solutions because it's something that we have to work together with DOE. I just want to hear each candidate's approach how we gonna present to DOE to fix this problem because I think this is very important for especially parents just like me, elementary school who's not fully vaccinated, worried about sending kids to school. So I just want to hear some approach.
They are in the. Mr. Chow?
I totally agree with what you're saying, right? Now, I have a kid who's going to pre-K. This is how he wears his mask. All right? So, of course, I'm very concerned. I have a second grader. She's 6, but she's going to be 7 in November. She's going to second grade. I share the same concern. The older one is much better, all right? It's not, like I said, I'm also very concerned. I actually agreed with Mr. Im about remote, but when I realized it was state mandate, you can't fight the state mandate, right? You could, but good luck. So, I have no problem. I understand your concern. I'm also very concerned, but it is my belief the DOE will make adjustment, change the policy as it goes on. Because right now they're saying no remote. They're saying all in person. Now, if they do 6 feet in the regular classrooms, instead of sitting 34, they could only do 15 kids. So if they do 3 feet apart, they might be able to do 20. But for oversized school, there's no way they can do unless they go 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, maybe even later, to stagger the student from coming in. Like maybe the 6th grader will come in 7 o'clock, so on and so forth. I share your concern. I don't know if I'm comfortable sending my kids to school, but right now we have no choice. My older one suffered greatly because he hated it. He hated remote learning. His average went from a 96 to down to like 80 something. And he says to me, Dad, what difference does it make? Right? As long as I pass, I go to high school. What difference does it make? Now he got an 88 on the algebra regions. He got a 65 in the course. So of course we give him a P because that's All right, so from the kids' psychological well-being, they're better off in the building. But from a health point of view, I'm not a doctor, but I'm concerned. And my older one refused to get the vaccine shot. He's 13, he refused to do it. Thank you.
So a couple of things. I know that PS32 is overcrowded. I know that PS32 is the only dual language school on the East Coast, so that's a great school. We fought in the past about expanding the school space in PS32, and in fact, they are building a bigger school, but that's the bigger picture. We've addressed the issue of the masks and the remote instruction last term. Our fellow CEC members who are on it understand. We actually made a resolution and a vote of no confidence in our mayor in the way the situation was handled. Because yes, children's safety comes first. Our kids' safety comes first. That's paramount. That's why we're all here. It's all about safety. But if the state mandates that our kids go back to the school and the governor says the school's open and the mayor says they're open, in fact, the mayor is a little bit more protective that they have to wear the mask and be 6 feet apart. So the city of New York is a little bit more strict than the rest of the state, but it's something that you're gonna find out, we as a CEC cannot make policy on that. We can voice our opinions, we can do a resolution, a vote of no confidence, which we've done in the past. And if you feel that we need to do that this coming term, then it's something we take on. Thank you.
So, hi everyone. So now we will do another roll call vote.
Yes, we will. Yeah. Can you just write it as I say the names? That works. Okay.
Do you want me to do that?
No, I can read the names from them, and I know everybody's name now. So I'll go around the room.
Just run it.
I'll go how I did before. Joseph Di Benedetto.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Didn't you turn the camera?
You're right. Sorry. Anne-Marie Knebel.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Shirley.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Joseph Chow.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Oh, okay. I was expecting you to say so. Michelle Frederick.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
And Wendy Yu.
Joseph Di Benedetto.
Rashmi, did I get you? I'm sorry. Rashmi Krishna Raj. So it's unanimous? Unanimous.
It's
Lastly,
not an easy job.
Joseph Di Benedetto, you have been elected to serve as council president for 2021 to 2023. Thank you.
Twenty-one to 2022.
Advise it. It's when you-
I apologize. Mr. Di Benedetto, you have been elected to serve as council president for 2021 to 2022. Thank you. Now we will move on to the next officer election.
Do I take over the chair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great job.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
One lawyer to another lawyer.
Okay, so now, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that. I lost my place here. Do I go back to the script and go to Vice President?
Now we're on to Vice President. I'm not secretary. I don't know what you.
Okay, so I will now take nominations for the seat of first Vice President or Vice President? For a Vice President.
No, first Vice President, then second Vice President, right? Then the secretary.
Is that what we have? I don't recall.
First Vice President.
Okay, so I will now take nominations for first Vice President. Members can nominate themselves. If a member is nominated by another member, I will confirm that he or she accepts the nominations. Nominations do not need to be seconded. If a member is not present but has submitted his nomination in writing to the AA or another member, he or she will be treated the same way as any member who is present, including having a 2-minute statement read aloud by someone else. Each nominee will be allowed to make a speech of up to 2 minutes. Following the candidates' presentations, we will conduct a roll call vote. All positions must be voted on, even if there's one candidate where there are two or more candidates. Each member must make a choice and vote for one or the other. Example, John Doe and Jane Smith are running for vice president. On the roll call vote, each member will vote for either John or Jane. The council must not vote first on John, then Jane. Members may abstain from voting. Okay? Are there any nominations for the office of vice president?
Joseph Chow, can I nominate you? I feel bad because you guys will work really good together.
Thank you. Joseph Chow.
You want to nominate yourself?
No, I want to nominate you first.
No, I support you.
Thank you.
That's fine.
We gotta figure out this Joseph.
Yeah, I know. It will be J square.
Are there any other nominations for vice president? Anybody else? Nominations? We have no other nominations in writing, correct? So we will now conduct a roll call vote for the position.
Ready?
Yes.
Joseph Benedetto,
Joseph Chow, yes.
Wayne Yu,
Joseph Chow.
Anne-Marie Knievel,
Joseph Chow.
Joseph Chow,
Joseph Chow.
Sung Yun Lee, Joseph Chow, Rashmi Krishnan,
Joseph Chow.
Michelle Frederick, Pamela, sorry, that's it, okay.
Congratulations, Mr. Chow, you are first vice president of Community Education Council of District 25.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much.
Thank you.
I've been assistant principal for 24 years. I know how to assist.
It's not a matter of boasting. Okay, so now I will take nomination. Do I have to go through the script again? Okay. I will take nominations for second vice president. Are there any nominations for second vice president?
I nominate Roger.
Rashmi, do you accept the?
Can I nominate you, Ms. Lee?
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted to be a treasurer.
You want the treasurer? Okay, fine. So our Michelle.
Michelle has
Michelle.
7 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
So let's just back up. Do you accept the nomination for second vice president?
No.
Okay. Do you accept the nomination for second vice president?
Accept.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any other nominations for second vice president? So let's do the roll call vote.
Michelle, you say yes?
Yes, she said yes. Rashmi said no.
And Rashmi, so wait, who nominated?
So when
I
you
nominated
nominated
Rashmi.
Rashmi, and Rashmi turned down the nomination respectfully, and then Joseph
Nominated.
Chow, oh, I'm sorry.
Shirley nominated her.
Okay, she
Rashmi
nominated me.
nominated Shirley,
And she said no.
She said no, so there are 2 no's.
and
She
then
said
Joseph
yes.
Chow nominated
Nominated,
Michelle
that's all.
Frederick.
Thank you.
Councilmember, good to see you.
Joseph Benedetto,
I vote Michelle Frederick.
Wayne Yu,
Michelle said.
Anne-Marie Knievel,
Michelle Frederick.
Joseph Chow, Sung Yun Lee,
Michelle Frederick.
Rashmi Krishnan,
Michelle Frederick.
Michelle Frederick,
Michelle.
that's it. And okay,
Congratulations, Michelle Frederick, you are the second vice president of Community Education Council for District 25. I will now take nominations for the office of, is it treasurer next or secretary? Treasurer.
Shirley Lee.
So Joseph Chow nominates Sung Yun Lee or Shirley Lee. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? Okay, let's do the roll call. Oh. Are there any other nomination?
No, I support her.
Joseph Benedetto,
Sung Yun Lee. Shirley.
Wayne Yu,
Shirley.
Shirley Lee, I'm sorry, Anne-Marie Knievel,
Shirley.
Joseph Chow,
Sung Yun Lee.
Sung Yun Lee,
Sung Lee.
Rashmi Krishnan,
Shirley Lee.
Michelle Frederick,
Shirley Lee.
Congratulations, Sung Yun Lee. You are the treasurer of the Community Education Council for District 25. Welcome. I think we have one more office, correct? That's a secretary. Do you want to read what the purpose, the roles of secretary are?
secretary, that's what I was on the.
Okay. So secretary will take the minutes of the meeting and will assist Carly when she's unable to attend the meeting. Are there any nominations for the office of secretary?
I nominate Anne-Marie Knievel.
I accept.
Okay, Anne Marie accepts the nomination. Are there any other nominations for the office of secretary?
I nominate.
Okay, so we have Anne Marie and Anne Marie. Any other nominations? Let's do the roll call vote.
Joseph Di Benedetto,
Anne Marie?
Wayne Yu,
Emery,
Anne Marie Knievel,
Oh, yeah.
Joseph Chow,
Anne Marie.
Sonia Lee,
Emery,
Russia Krishnan,
Anne Marie.
Michelle Frederick, Anne Marie Knievel.
Congratulations, Anne Marie Knievel. You will hold the office of secretary for CDC District 25, and welcome. So now that we have elected all of our officers, is that the conclusion of our annual meeting, or do we have to do the meeting dates? That could be. Okay, so I am now adjourning the annual meeting. Congratulations to all the newly elected officers and all the new members. I look forward to working with all of you, and I congratulate you. We will take a 2-minute break, and then we will start our calendar meeting.
thank you.
Okay? We'll get a 2-minute break. Come back.
Yes, when you walk in, yes. You sit it down. So Shirley. Yes.
Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Councilmember, good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you. How are you? Long time.
Don't tell
Yes,
me.
yes. How's everything? Everything's good?
Yeah, when you stop.
No, I was making sure. Hey, John?
Yeah.
Good to see you again. So now you're in this capacity. Are you still a teacher then? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, good. Well, now you get to deal with a new level.
Joe, congratulations. How are you? I'm sorry, congratulations. So let's call this meeting to order. Is the recording didn't start yet, right? No, we're still recording. Okay, so we're gonna start. If you don't mind. Because we're here live and we have a time constraint, right? So we will now start our calendar meeting, our first calendar meeting for the new term, and we will start with the roll call.
Joseph D. Benedetto,
Present.
Wayne Yu, Anne Marie Knavel, Joseph Chow, Sung Young Lee, Rashmi Beyond is absent, Rashmi Krishnaraj, Michelle Frederick, and Pam Montemarino is absent.
Okay, so we do have a quorum present, which is good. Before we get started with our calendar meeting, I want to introduce the council members so we are very fortunate in our district because we have the support of the elected officials. We have Senator John Liu who's here, and we have Councilmember Peter Cook, who's always been instrumental in our district. We thank you for joining us this evening. Before I give you my report and before we start with the calendar meeting, I would like the senator and the council member to speak and introduce themselves to the council members, and we'll start with Senator Liu.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm not only superintendent, but I wore my mask.
If you walk, you can.
Senator, we're being recorded. Do you mind stepping in front of the
I don't mind
camera?
at all. Where's the camera?
All right.
You have to back up a little bit.
I have to back up so my head's
You're good.
All right, I can see, yes. Yes, well, good evening, everyone. And thank you very much, Joe. Congratulations to you as you've been reelected our president. Congratulations to the other officers as well. And congratulations to our new CEC members. We have Michelle Frederick here, we have Wayne Yu here, we have Joseph Chow, who I've known since his teacher days at Francis Lewis High School, and we also have Sung and Shirley Lee, who I think you're like stepping right into the role as treasurer also, right? Congratulations. It's really great to see everybody in person. We have been Zooming now for over a year. And I will note that during this entire crisis, CEC 25 has never let up in its efforts, its advocacy, its watchdog roles, and really doing what's necessary for the school children and the families of District 25. So we've been Zooming almost on a monthly basis. This is the first time in a long time that we've had a chance to see each other in person, so you all look marvelous. You really do. And the work of this district continues without abatement. This year, there's a lot, obviously, that has happened in the city of New York. Councilmember Koo is going to give us a great report on that. From the state perspective, the state doesn't actually operate any schools like the city of New York does. But our main job is to provide the governance and the funding and the guidelines by which our schools in New York City operate. I'm happy to report that for the very first time ever, we this year have a plan to fully fund the promise, actually the mandate, that the state's highest court delivered to New York City 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, the Campaign for Fiscal Equity. That was never fully fulfilled. In fact, for many years, for over 10 years, we were short $4 billion a year of funding to New York State public schools. Thankfully, we now are fully funding that over the next 3 years. It's billions of dollars more statewide. It's a couple $1 billion every year more for the city of New York's schools. And so part of that has also been a requirement that the school district, meaning the Department of Education here in New York City, explain how they're going to use this additional money to improve our schools. And this CEC is going to be a very integral part of that conversation, because it's not just about throwing money more money at schools, it's also about ensuring that the Department of Education downtown, the chancellor, the current chancellor, and in all likelihood, a new chancellor come the new year, how they are actually going to direct that kind of funding. It's not one-time funding; it's annual funding, and so we want to make sure that that is used and invested properly for our school kids. And then the other part of what we do in state government is we through the state education department, which is very closely linked to the legislature, we also try to provide guidelines for curricula in New York State public schools. In the past, it's been a very hands-off effort on the part of what should be involved in the curriculum. But as we have seen during the pandemic, for many years before the pandemic, but especially highlighted during the pandemic, we have seen the Black Lives Matter movement. We have seen a rise in anti-Semitism, and you have all read and heard about, for the past year plus, this incredible onslaught of anti-Asian hate. People have called for more police, more hate crime statutes, meaning enhanced penalties. I think that all sounds good, but at the root of racism and hate is ignorance and fear. And the only way to get at the ignorance and fear is not by threatening more jail time, but by eliminating that ignorance in the first place. And that is your job. That is our collective responsibility, to educate our kids in the next generations so that we can eliminate the ignorance that is the basis of hate. So I'll be working very intently on that initiative, as are many of my legislative colleagues. But I will come back every meeting, if you can stand it, so long as I'm in the city, to give you a report on what we've been doing. Obviously, beginning in January, the state legislature will meet in Albany, and so I won't be able to attend these meetings, and I'm not even sure that the meetings will be conducted by Zoom at that point. We're working on some of these issues here, but for the most part, Sujin Choi, who's always at these meetings, she will be here to represent me and take back whatever complaints and suggestions you have, and we keep it coming. And I will I will ask her to provide any kind of report that might be due. So with that, thank you very much for having me. Thank you to all the parents who are continuing to participate in person, as well as over the internet. Special shout out to Donghui Zhang and Yatin Chu, who are like citywide parent advocates, very vociferous, and I'm sure you'll hear from them as well. So with that, Mr. President,
thank you, Senator. Yes,
to you or to the council member, or is something your discussion?
I wanted to thank you for your dedication to our district. You've shown us what the issues are. Those are the new issues that we face this year, and we always thank you for your support and your presence in our council. Thank you.
And I forgot to mention, Mr. President, that I'm so engaged in District 25 because this is where I started. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Councilmember Peter Cook. Welcome.
Thank you.
That's fine. As long as they can hear you.
Yeah. So thank you, Senator Lu, for the extra money to the New York City Department of Education. I had to look at my sheet this day. I forgot to say something. So hello everyone. My name is Councilmember Peter Kuhn. For the last 12 years, I have represented City Council District 20. Which comprises about half of the CEC 25. I want to stop by to congratulate all the new members of the Community Education Council 25 and congratulate our president for being reappointed.
Thank you.
Thank you. And also, I want to say congratulations to our superintendent. She has been here, I don't know how many years, but 11. 11 years, but through your dedication, our school district is getting better and better. So this is a very important role you fill because it's an incredible privilege to be able to serve our community's most precious resources, which is our children. Our children are most precious. So we make sure they get a good basic education in every school so that they can embark on to further education or go to work. So this is my last year in the City Council, and I wanted to update you on some of the accomplishments we have made this year and over the years. School capacity has always been an issue. In my district, we expanded 2 of the most overcrowded schools. We have given PS240 24 kilo a new wing, and we began construction of a new annex at Francis Lewis High School. So when your kids leave CEC 25, their local high schools will have 4 spaces. Combined, the 2 annexes will house about 1,000 new seats, plus a host of other amenities. Many of the playgrounds that serve our schools have also received full renovations, including PS20, PS120, and junior high school 89. And just this week, we achieved another victory with a $10 million allocation for Francis Lewis High School to completely renovate the track and athletic fields so that student athletes can have a safe place to play. And every year, my first phone calls I make to our principals to ask what they need. I always wanted to make sure every school is funded. And I'm very proud to say that over the last 12 years, we have secured nearly $50 million for technology, after school, and capital needs, so that our schools have what they need to succeed. These are just some of the victories that we have achieved together. I want to thank Superintendent DeMango, all the principal, teachers, and staff, and all the parents, and especially this board for all you have done. I know that with your leadership, our kids are in best hands. So thank you all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member. I personally have experience with Council Member Peter Koo with the expansion of PS24, which is a beautiful school, state of the art. It's in our district, and I know you were very instrumental in that making that happen, and we thank you for that, and we thank you for your contributions. Again, it's always a pleasure to work with our elected officials. It's very rare that we have the support of our elected officials. I also want to introduce, I see in the back, there's a representative. So we have 2 council members in our district. We have Council Member Peter Koo and Council Member Paul Ballone. Unfortunately, they're both leaving this term, right? But we have a representative from Paul Ballone's office here in the back. That's Christine Caniglia. We want to extend our thanks to Council Member Paul Ballone as well. So you see that it's good to be involved, and it's good to have the support of our elected officials. So thank you once again. So moving on, I don't have much of a report to give you other than we have in our folders the minutes from our last meeting, which obviously we cannot vote on the approval because we don't have a quorum that was present, correct? Juliana? There's no point in voting on it. We're new council. But if you read the minutes, you'll see that at our conclusion of our last meeting, as a council, it's typical that we reward and we acknowledge the high-performing students and the community leaders in our district. And because of the pandemic, we were not able to have an award ceremony, which we typically have every June, our last meeting. So this past June, we acknowledged all the students, and we acknowledged them for the work they've done during the pandemic. It wasn't easy, and we gave them a lot of credit, and we wanted to, with Rushmi's help, we wanted to acknowledge everyone. So it was a celebration for all of our students. So if you look through our minutes, you'll see that we did that. You'll also see that we have as Councilmember Peter Ku mentioned, we have a big overcrowding problem in our district. And I'm sure the superintendent will speak about that as well. Before I introduce you to our superintendent, I realized that during the annual meeting, we should have approved our meeting dates. Okay, we can do that during the business meeting? Okay, we'll do that during the business meeting. So without further ado, I introduce you to our superintendent, Danielle Demango, for our superintendent's report.
Well, thank you. Wait, before you go, Senator, I just want to say thank you so much for your commitment to District 25 and for always being here for the council, but also for the district. And I really do appreciate working alongside you for our schools, but I also appreciate how you will be accountable and be accountable for high expectations for schools. So thank you so much for being that inspiration to me, to making sure that I'm entering to the community. So thank you for that.
And thank you for doing it so well.
Oh, well, thank you. And I look forward to us continuing to work together.
I'm gonna get to another meeting, so.
Thank you, Senator. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Ku, everything you said was absolutely correct. You have been an amazing support for our schools. I want to thank you for everything that you have done, for always being there, for supporting the community, for being an inspiration to students. I remember the first time I became a superintendent, you would always get in front of kids and talk about the power of education. So I want to thank you so much for your support across the years. And I look forward to us continuing to work together in whatever capacity that you go on in your next phase of life. And just know, you always have a home in District 25 schools. So thank you so much. And you are leaving a legacy of everything that you spoke about, technology and the building of schools. So just thank you so much for your support over the years.
Thank you.
I want to congratulate our new CEC. I'm really excited for us to work together. Congratulations to our newly elected officials. And I know that the next 2 years are just going to be great, right? And I really look forward to working together and coming out of this pandemic to continue the strong work that we do in District 25. So thank you all for being here tonight, and I look forward to our work together. Okay, so I have a few announcements. First, I'm happy to announce that we have opened 16 summer rising sites across the district. Just so everyone knows, I've gotten no sleep to make sure that they're successful. We have so many families that want to participate. This week was a little hectic, but I am telling you, we are up and running and excited to welcome our students. So I want to let everyone know the following schools that we are hosting: PS21, PS22, PS24, IS25, PS29, PS130, PS163, PS164, PS165, Junior High School 185, Junior High School 189, PSMS 200, PS209, IS 250, Junior High School 379, and PSIS 499. Besides the academic programs we're offering to our students in the morning, we have also established strong partnerships with our local community-based organizations, as well as arts and music residencies. This summer, our students will be engaged in STEM activities, project-based learning, and sports such as lacrosse and mountain bike riding lessons. We even have basketball being taught to our students by the Harlem Magic Masters. I'm really excited. I'm going to go there myself at some schools. We're looking forward to all these exciting events and partnerships and student learning opportunities across all our sites this summer. The new school proposal in District 25. So over this past month, SEA has scheduled public engagement activities around a proposed new school site in Bayside. As many of you have heard over the past 7 to 10 years, and what Councilmember Ku has just mentioned, District 25 has become one of the most overcrowded districts in New York City. This was reiterated by CSA during the community board meeting on June 28th. As part of the engagement that we do with CECs and our community, the Office of District Planning comes to meet with our CEC to discuss the state of the district. As new school proposals and expansions are always being considered, I am recommending that the council reach out to district planning to get a big snapshot of district seat needs as soon as possible. In terms of the area being proposed, I asked for a breakdown of the capacity of schools in the sub-district of the proposed site. They are as follows.
PS 29 is currently at 119% utilization. PS 129 is 130% overutilization. PS 169 is 122% overutilization. Junior high school PS 184 is at 143% overutilization. Junior high school 185, 123%. PS 193, 113%. Junior high school 194, 106%. PS 209, 118%. And Bell Academy is at 131%. So one of the things that we talk about is, although we have the ability to create spaces in our schools, there are some things that we sacrifice, such as art rooms and dance rooms that are in other schools, such as PS 24 that was just constructed, that will be organized at PS 32 as they work on extensions. So what we do, and one of the things that I'm asking of this council is for your support in engaging in conversations around new school proposals and the impact that it can have on our school community. So one of the things that we talked about is PS 169 and Bell Academy are getting extensions as we speak in that area. However, once that construction is in place, the buildings will be just at utilization rates. So once again, as our populations increase in District 25, and we say that because people love to live in our district, and that really makes us happy, and they have faith in our schools. And we want to continue to be able to offer the best possibilities and the newest and innovative opportunities for our students around high-tech labs, increased computers, state-of-the-art music and arts programs. So this is one thing that I do encourage our CEC to engage in conversations around if possible. Okay. Next. I want to thank Juliana from FACE. She has sent me some applications of our student members that are high school members, seniors, that we take on as CECs. And over the summer, I am going to engage in interviews with these students. So I do always offer the opportunity for any CEC member who wants to participate in student interviews with me. So if there is anyone here that would like to join me as I set up interviews with our student members, they will most likely take place within the next 2 weeks, because I would like to get a student member as soon as possible on the council. So to decide who it is, yes.
So it is the superintendent's role and function to select a student member on our council. And it's often, I'm sorry, I don't want to take it from you, but it's oftentimes very important because we get a student's perspective of what's going on in the schools. And in the past, we've had wonderful students, and it's great for them also. So the superintendent does interview them, and if you feel that you want to take part in that interview process, please let the superintendent know.
And I really do like to do that in collaboration. So is there anyone interested? Anne-Marie?
Can I ask you to one student?
No, there's many.
There's many applicants, but we have one student.
There's 2 currently right now that have been vetted, but can you check to see if there's others? Because I know when I was reaching out for CBOs for students to get jobs, some of the high schools said that their students may have been submitting, so you can just double check.
Sure.
You know if there's anything else. Anyone else?
What are the requirements to get to?
Michelle? Yes, sir.
That's only one member that gets selected, right?
Sure.
When do you do these interviews, during the day or night?
I can do them either. We can ask. One of the things that I like to do is I don't want students necessarily to travel at night, but unfortunately, it's one of the things that prevents students from staying. So they'll come and be part of the first meeting, but because it's at night, they cannot do the travel. So that might be one of the things that we do. We can offer the interview at night and explain it because that there are night meetings and make sure they have transportation. So I can do it whatever's good for the council.
I'm going on vacation next week, after that I'm good.
Okay, so we can do it in 2 weeks.
By the way, people vote with their feet. When you rent those schools, they don't come.
When I what?
Parents vote with their feet. When you rent those schools, they come. When the school goes down, they go.
See, I'm glad that's why we have something. Okay. So the candidates are seniors in a, who live in the district or attend a high school in the district, and they ask that they have some sort of leadership role as a senior. So the first piece that they look at is president of a student council, correct? And then any other type of leadership roles that those students are. I do encourage CEC members to talk about it with students. I know that I was a school board member as a student, and it was one of the reasons that I got into college. I always support that work. So
I have a question for you. So these students are high school students currently in high school, or
yeah, they're going to be seniors this year.
and if they don't, and they have to live in District 25.
They have to either live in District 25.
Or go to school.
That's it. Yes, just live in District 25. Yes.
So they could be going to, for example, a high school in a different district, but live here and they can be
And they
a part
can
of
be a part of
this.
it. Yeah.
Wow. Has that policy ever been looked upon to give our middle schoolers a chance to be a part of CEC? To actually
It's
go to
state,
middle school?
yeah, it's state law.
Can we challenge that?
That's up to you. Yeah.
Because the students who are going to middle school here would have more vested interest in our CEC than the students who go to a high school in a different district and who live here.
I think that's something we take off Juliana.
Well, it's something, it's really great that we have elected officials here because it's something that the council may decide to discuss with the senator. Because he's your connection to New York State legislature.
It's state law, correct? And so I think the reasoning behind, because it's true, we represent elementary and middle schools, but I think the students in the middle school, we do our meetings in the evening, 7 o'clock, so I think they account for that, but
Yeah,
it makes,
that's a legit point, but we can still think
we can still talk
out
about
of
it,
the
yes.
box and have a guardian come with a student. Because I personally think that those students who go to 185, 189 will have more interest in talking and giving their views about how ours
I agree.
than the students.
Yeah, to transition, when it comes to district teams, we always invite students across our schools to be part of that. So one of the things that I wanted to present to the CEC tonight is that in conjunction with our district equity team, made up of parents, junior high school students, school leaders and teachers, and as well as our district leadership team, we worked as a community to engage in deep discussions around our district beliefs and the ways that they should be reflected and lived across our district schools. Tonight, I would like to share our new district vision statement designed in collaboration. We are presenting this statement to all constituencies across the district for their feedback. So at this time, I had Carly give out our new representation of our district vision. And we're asking our new CEC members for feedback around the vision. So for those of you who have not been, well, I'm sure everyone's been exposed because hopefully everyone's been exposed because it's been all over, but our vision for many years since 2015 has focused on strong roots, strong schools. This year we talked about what does that look like in terms of our beliefs around embracing differences, around the diversity that exists across our district, and how we can use that very similarly to what Senator Wu just said, to grow as a community, knowing and learning from and about each other and what that means to us as learners. So if you see, all of the roots of the tree represents all of our schools, and what the district leadership, what the district equity team came up with is from many roots growing together as one community. Our focus has always been about learner empowerment and how we can create opportunities across our classrooms to empower students to have a say in what they learn and in how they learn it. We've also talked about the importance of understanding and embracing differences across the district and in providing equitable access and opportunities for all. So one of the examples that we have done to reflect equitable access and opportunities for all is something we've done as a district across the past few years is to increase our Regents readiness. So historically, we've offered Regents exams to only certain classes, and over the past few years, we have been able to almost double the amount of students who have not only taken but have successfully achieved standard and mastery of those Regents. So that is conversations that we are continually having, and most of the time at the table with the council. So if you guys can just take a minute and look at the new mission and vision statement and see, actually I'm sorry, this is the new vision statement, mission is the next one. And just give any type of feedback or ask any questions that you have around that.
I think it's wonderful. I like it. It really came a long way from the past, right? It's broadened. I'm impressed. I think it's very good.
And I do want to say to you that this is not where we started, just in terms of this process alone. So for example, a month ago, it said from many roots, District 25 growing is one community. And through feedback from across our community, somebody wanted to add from many roots, which represents the diversity of our district. So if there's anyone that would want to throw out any recommendations or things that you would want to see different, just please feel free to give it. Okay, to be continued. So thank you all. As I said, I wish you all a successful year.
Thank you, Superintendent. We look forward to working with you. We're also very lucky because not all districts have a superintendent that is cooperative. Thank you, Councilmember. Nice to see you. Good to see you. Thank you. So it's a pleasure to work with you in your office, and just as you mentioned to the senator, we hold each other accountable for what we do, and it's a good relationship because we are. Sorry? Oh yeah, so I got you.
I didn't see him.
I'm going to introduce you also to our deputy superintendent, Dr. Michael D'Antona. So he's also my superintendent. You want to come up and say 2 words, Dr. D'Antona?
Say a few words. I'm not one that can often say just a couple of words, but I'll try. Good evening. Congratulations to all of our newly elected officials. Super excited to work with all of you. One of the things that I think is for me that I value most about our district is having a superintendent that believes in collaboration. And it's really what the district is really all about, is hearing the voices of the many and then working on it to create something like that. And that's what we stand for in the district. And I'm super excited to work on that with all of you. Good night, everyone.
Very excited.
Was that
Yeah,
Okay, so so it's nice to meet in person, right? Because we haven't been in person for quite some time. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I'm assuming we're going to meet the other district office regulars.
Next month they will all be here.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And Lewis, isn't his space there?
Okay, so before I don't know if there's anybody who signed up on the public agenda. So the Community Education Council also, at all our meetings, we allow, this is a public meeting, we allow public speaking time according to our bylaws, and usually if someone comes to our meetings that wants to speak, they sign up on the public speaking list, and Carly will let us know. Is anybody on that list?
No, just the 2 councilmen.
Got it, okay, perfect. So having said that, we are going, if there's no other calendar business that we need to discuss, I'll entertain any motions to adjourn the calendar meeting to be followed by our business meeting, where we will do some business in terms of set dates for our future meetings, talk about liaison groups and I guess SLTs, DLTs, all that. So is there any other calendar business that someone would like to discuss?
Can I? We'll talk about this later, right?
We're gonna talk about that during the business meeting. So Rashmi made a motion to adjourn our calendar meeting, and Joseph Chow seconded the motion. So the calendar meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you, members of the public. You are free to stay during our business meeting. You're free to leave whenever, this is the time that we do our business for the future, okay? You guys okay jumping right into it?
Yes.
Okay, so having said that, let's call the meeting to order. Thank you, Sujin, nice to see you.
Hi, Sujin.
Let's take the roll call, please.
Joseph D. Benedetto,
Present.
Wayne Yo, Emery Knable, Joseph Chow,
Present.
Sonia Lee, Wesley Krishnaraj, Michelle Frederick,
Okay, so the purpose of the business meeting is to conduct business of the council. We talk about what we want to put on the agenda for the following month. We talk about housekeeping issues and with the CEC. But let's start with the meeting dates, right? Because we really need to confirm the meeting dates. So Carly put in a folder some meeting dates we as the CEC have in our bylaws. You have a copy of it, Tanya? Here, so you can take that, take my copy. So in our bylaws, it's stated that we meet the first Wednesday of every month, right? Is it the first Wednesday followed the first Monday of every month?
Is it a Wednesday?
So usually Wednesdays at 7 p.m. So we typically put the first Wednesdays of the month in here. Sometimes there's a conflict. It's a holiday, parent-teacher conference, vacation. So we need to confirm all our dates, and if we can't use one of the dates on this list, we need to put an alternate date because we can vote on changing our meeting date. So why don't we, Carly, you want to run this, or do you want me to do it?
No, you can do it. I'm just saying these are tentative. I just went by the first.
So Carly put in the first Wednesday of every month on this list. I don't know if they're school holidays. I don't know if they're teacher conference dates. Go ahead, Joseph.
I just checked the DOE schedule on November 3rd and March 2nd. They happen to be the elementary school parent-teacher conference evening.
Okay, so we're talking about November 3rd?
As well as March 2nd.
Okay, and March 2nd, let's just note those dates, we can change them. What about August, September, and October? Are those? They seem okay, no conflict with DOE, right? December 1st, January 5th, when do we come back from, what the vacation was? You have your calendar?
We come Friday to Friday, well, it looks like, what's it, first, second, the third,
So,
Monday, the third.
that shouldn't be a problem unless somebody wants to change it, right? February 2nd, no issues. We know about March, April 6th, May 4th, June 1st. Is that conflict with anything? And then we have July 6th. Okay, so now, because November 3rd is a DOE holiday, or no, it's a DOE teacher conference day, we're also parents, obviously. So that will conflict. So do I have any motions to change the November 3rd meeting date to another date? How about the following, I'll make the motion to make it the following week, which is November 10th. Does that conflict with anything? Do we have to go through the motions? Juliana, like second the motion, or can we just do it?
Sure.
Show of hands. Is everyone okay to switch the calendar meeting to November 10th?
Yes.
Show of hands. Okay, so let's put that as November 10th. Now, what about March 2nd? The following week is March 9th. Is everyone okay with that? Is that create any conflict? Anybody? Show of hands.
9th.
Joseph, you good? Okay.
And if something does happen down the course, we can always change it.
Correct, yes, so these are tentative dates. Obviously for the next meeting date, Carly has to send a notice out to the community because we have to give 72-hour notice to the community. So our next meeting will be August 4th. If something thereafter comes about that we want to change, then we'll just make a motion and vote on it at the next meeting, okay? Yes, Joseph?
Can I just say something? Usually the high school parent-teacher conference is a week later. November 10th.
Oh, really?
High school, yes.
Okay, so which one, November 10th?
Yeah. Do we have to stick with the Wednesday or we can do it Tuesday?
You can do the Thursday.
We could do another date, we don't have to stick to
Why
that.
don't we just do, let me just, November 4th is the parent-teacher afternoon. If we meet in the evening, that's okay, right?
So we have to meet at 7 p.m. because we have to, what?
Yeah, that's afternoon, so November 4th will be good.
But sometimes the schools give afternoon and the evening
And
time.
evening time.
Different
For
days.
yeah, they kind of staggered it.
So like sometimes they'll do parent teacher conference November 3rd in the morning, in the evening, and then the next day they'll do it in the afternoon instead of doing it all in one day. That's what she's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we're meeting in the evening, we should be okay.
So so we're talking about November 10th, right? So you're saying that there's parent-teacher conferences in the high schools on the 10th?
Correct, in the
Oh.
evening.
In the evening.
But if we do November 4th, the parent-teacher conference in the afternoon. So if we meet in the evening, we're
Is
okay.
that election?
November 4th, that's a Tuesday, election day, the first
Oh,
Tuesday,
yes,
the
sir.
first Monday. Look, I think if we go to the 10th, how about doing the 11th, the next day? Or how about doing the 9th? Right.
Yeah, Veterans Day, the 11th.
Veterans Day is 11th, that's not good. How about Tuesday the 9th? Is that parent-teacher conference in the high schools also?
Tuesday would be good.
Does that work? Show of hands, Tuesday rather than Wednesday?
Yeah, that's
November 9th?
November 9th. Show of hands for November 9th. Does that work with you, Michelle? You have 6 kids, so you got a lot going on there.
7 for my daughter, about the kid, but then I work.
And you work 6.
She is K to 8, and that's all one shot. They get everything done in one visit.
It's not, if that's a scheduling problem, we could do another day. Tuesdays are not good?
Not about, my days don't vary every week. So
Okay,
I just kind of work with both.
gotcha.
I'm just doing my job, that's fine, I'll figure it
Alright, so as we get closer, you wanna change, we can make a motion next month to change, we got time, okay? And so is everyone okay for, what did I say, November 9th?
November 9th.
Okay, Carly, you put that, so Carly's gonna take the notes on that there. Now, having said, we have the calendar year ahead of us done, right? Now, meeting places, so I know that because of these COVID restrictions, everything keeps changing. If we have more than 25 people, including the council members, we're not able to meet in this building. I think that, I'm not sure Juliana correct me, right? So Juliana helps us because she assists us with things. I know that we were pushing to do some meetings and with the superintendent's permission with the schools, we're going to offer the school as a venue for our next meeting if we have more than 25 people.
If there's a school that would be willing to host, there would be, like, an auditorium would fit more people. And as you get closer to the fall, you get more and more attendance at your meetings.
So for August,
So the only thing that we talked about in the past is that when we have meetings at schools, we just ask the council to look across the district. So it's not only and always on one
in
side
other
of
words,
the
just
district.
not one area,
Yeah.
fairness to everybody.
So Carly, you would be able to, I guess when you do outreach to principals, to just make sure that the people that volunteer may represent across the district, and if they don't, then I'll do some outreach to make sure that parents from across the community.
So we contact the school.
So Carly will do that, so understand, so we're separate and apart from DOE, we're an independent, elected group. We don't have authority over DOE, so we need to be respectful of our schools, because we just can't call them up and say we want this. We have to ask for their permission, so typically Carly will start by asking the schools if they'll agree to host a meeting for one of our CEC meetings, but I think for August, are we safe to have it here, or do we need to start looking at a school?
What is your attendance normally in August?
Yes.
Usually we have low attendance, and
So
it's
given that
September would
that's, given that that's your, like, historic attendance, I think it's fine. Like, you didn't have to turn anyone away tonight.
correct. So because we're a public body, if we have more than 25 people that sign up for our August meeting, then we're gonna have to, on short notice, try to accommodate, right?
True, that would be the response.
Right, so, but I think we can take the chance for August to meet here, right? We're good, right? And then we'll take it up in August, maybe, at that point, the schools will be, you can look into that because school starts September what, 2nd? No, 3rd? 13. So even for our September 1st meeting, schools wouldn't be open yet.
No, I mean, the schools are happy to have CEC meetings at, and especially our schools that have larger auditoriums, yeah. If we could maybe, we could reach out to certain schools. The only thing that September might be a little crazy, September 1st, because summer rising ends, the 3rd week in August, and then custodians have to do some deep cleaning of the buildings. So if maybe we can try to do September here, and then the rest of the meetings.
Our meetings usually don't get like a lot of, even in our Zoom, it's not really, once school starts, we get more people coming in, but the summer was not really.
Yeah, so since it starts September 13th, if you guys are okay with doing even September 1st here and then. Okay, great. And so Carly, you could just reach out to the principals, give them dates, and then ask them to fill in on certain dates when they would be willing to.
They have to be wheelchair accessible, right?
Yes, that
Most of our schools are.
Most schools are. When's Labor Day? It's after the 1st, obviously.
December 6th.
Okay, so September 1st is not conflict with anybody's schedule,
May I,
right?
Go ahead. Just, since school won't start till the 13th, I want to go on vacation. So is it possible it could be the 15th of September?
I'm okay with it. Are you guys okay with it? I mean, it might be better that we do our September meeting after school starts, right? Is everyone okay? I mean, so rather than have our September 1st meeting, we will do our September 15th meeting. And then we may have school. Can I have a show of hands?
September 15th is actually, you could pick a school.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think it might be better that we start after school starts, or at least a week before school starts, because you get more involved.
The 16th Yom Kippur, that should be an issue, right?
That might be an issue. It will be an issue. The 16th is Yom Kippur.
Does anyone with Jewish
Does it start? So we're talking about.
Sundown on the 15th?
Yeah.
So sundown on the 15th is Yom Kippur.
It starts sundown and it'll go all day.
So that will be a conflict that we really don't want to have.
You are allowed to be absences.
But also, so I learned in the past, serving, and you know this probably, we had a meeting on a holiday and we got a lot of pushback on it. Remember?
Yes.
So I don't want to. I think it's not a good
How about
idea.
the 14th, Tuesday?
So we can do Tuesday the 14th. Is everybody okay with that? Show of hands.
Wait,
September.
What's
It's a
September
birthday, Mom,
14th?
take that lady off.
So Fridays are
I got you covered.
we can try, but I don't know. Fridays are tough for a lot of people, even public, including myself. Fridays.
Yes, all the schools and stuff.
What's that? No, it's my family. In other words, my wife works like that's how part of the weekend. We just leave. Friday. So and a lot of people probably leave. I don't have a problem coming, but my family leave without me. But I don't think Fridays would work with the public.
23rd? Still close to the next meeting.
So the 23rd would be close to the next meeting. What was the problem with September 9th? Tuesday? Oh, what was the problem, Carly?
He's September 1st. You're not gonna be here, right?
No, the 9th.
The 9th.
No, I'm saying school doesn't start till the 13th. We may
Oh, I'm sorry.
have
What
to
happens to what happened to the 14th?
14th is fine.
Is that the start of Yom Kippur?
No.
Okay, so that's Tuesday the 14th, right?
Right.
Can I have a show of hands of who is okay with Tuesday the 14th? Good with that? Okay, so Carly, you got that, right? Got it. So perhaps in August we can discuss about schools and the locations for that meeting. Another problem, you want to be fair to all the schools in our district. We go from one product ways to another, so you don't wanna always focus on one area. But a lot of people, they don't have notice about our public meetings and they end up coming here. So you wanna give them ample notice of where to go. And you really wanna have public transportation as an option. So we have to think about that when we do that at our schools. We wanna try to have something centrally located. But we'll pick that up in August.
I have a question. This is 7 o'clock time. Is that a time that just works for everybody? I'm just asking because, not just for me, but my husband works 9 o'clock at night to 5 o'clock. Well, I don't have night too. So my kids are with him and then yeah. Go get home at 9 and meet like at 7. I mean, I can find somebody, but maybe like that one time I can't.
So I think is it in our bylaws that we have to meet at 7 p.m.?
Your bylaws say a time determined by the council.
So, I mean, I don't know, I mean, if with work schedules, I don't know if we can do exactly 5 o'clock. But if you wanna do, is it a problem for people to get here earlier than 7? What time are you suggesting?
Is this the how long?
So typically it's 7 o'clock, we usually we need to be done between 9 and 9:30 because we have a permit, it's 2 hours, correct?
The building closes.
The building closes what, 9:30?
Johnny, it's not a 10 by 10.
Yeah.
Would it matter? Class will kind of be a little active for me, so I can get them like 8. That kind of works. I mean, if it's 6 o'clock, I can put it away. 5 o'clock, would be ideal.
So I don't know if that's possible, but
Otherwise, I couldn't, honestly,
why
I would,
also for the
6
public?
o'clock is really the earliest that I can get here, because
Understand, if you have to leave, you have to don't feel that, and if the member has to leave for a reason, I think that we can reimburse you, we have some reimbursable expenses if you have childcare. But if you have to leave half hour early, 15 minutes early, I don't think you're gonna be penalized for that, I think it's fine. We're allowed up to 3 unexcused absences, correct? We only meet once a month, so I mean, if you have an issue, we can also, let's assume that one particular month you wanna meet early, maybe we can arrange to meet half hour early. We're flexible on that. But generally it's 7 o'clock, it's generally known in the community that we meet at 7, unless we have to then vote on it, change the rule and, come to some type of agreement, so. I would suggest we start at 7 if there's a month that you need to start earlier because your husband's working, whatever, and you wanna make a motion to start at 6:30 or 6:15. I think if you get before 6 might be a problem with a lot of people because of work schedules. All right, we okay with that,
I
Juliana?
mean, I feel like Michelle basically made a motion, I think we should vote, I think the council members should vote
On right now,
yeah,
So-
yeah.
are you making a motion to change the meeting time from 7 p.m. to 5 p.m.?
Or to 6
Or 6?
6 p.m.
Okay, so Michelle Frederick made a motion to change the meeting time from 7 p.m. to 6 p.m. Do I have anyone that will second the motion?
She looks like it works out better for her, but otherwise every meeting it will be harder for her. So I guess I'll second that.
I mean, every meeting is 7 hours.
Right, every
I would
meeting
have
it
to
will be very hard for you.
I wouldn't give.
Right, be a full part.
Unless I consider it and I take them somewhere and then.
Oh, yeah, it's- I second that, that's fine.
Understood.
We can try that.
So, Rashmi made the second in the motion, so look, I personally have a problem being here before 6. I generally leave my office 10:56, 6 o'clock, I mean, I could definitely be here by 6:30, it might be a problem for me to be here by 6, but do we need to do a roll call vote, or do you wanna discuss this, anyone?
Can I do the motion for 6:30?
Okay, so Michelle Freddy made a motion to change our meeting time from 7 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. monthly, right, on Wednesdays. And Joseph Chow seconded the motion, right? And now we need to do a roll call vote. Show of hands if we're okay with 6:30 as our meeting time. Show of hands. So we do have. So we have unanimous present. So we are going to change our meeting times on Wednesdays. We're gonna bring it close to half hour to 6:30. I think that's what works well.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for making the motion. So it's hereby determined that our meeting time will be 6:30 on the date scheduled on the calendar. That should not close the problem. You correct? Perfect. So you'll update that. Any other discussion on the meeting times? You see, we talk a lot, we have a lot of things going on. So I'm gonna say a couple more things and then we can ask for a motion to adjourn because we still have to do a couple of things. We can wait till next month when Pamela's here. We usually assign to each school a liaison. So we have 34 schools in our district. Carly, if you can give us a list of schools for next month and put it in the folder. Is it in here already?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. But maybe we should wait till Mr. Young and Pamela here because we usually ask that you sign up for some schools, and we ask that they be schools where your children do not attend because you are involved in your child's school as a parent. So if I have a child at Bell Academy, I wouldn't be able to pick Bell Academy because I'm involved. If Rushmere has a child at ES24, she would pick another school because she's involved in her school as a parent. So between now and next month, if you look at the list of schools, and we ask, so we're how many members? We're 11, we're 9 right now, right? But we're gonna wait for, hopefully we'll have a sign. I think we should wait till we have our borough president appointed members because we'll be a full council of 11. We'll have 34 schools and we'll take 3 or 4 schools each, correct?
So don't put that on next month's agenda?
Well, I don't know if we're gonna have our council members, our borough appointees. Do you know, Juliana?
It's on my I spoke with Monica Gutierrez at the borough president's office, and she said applications are still with the DOE. They're not completely vetted.
So why don't we take it up at our business meeting next month? We can, even if we don't have the borough president appointed individuals, at least you'll have priority of picking the schools that you want to pick. So what is it, 3 schools, 4 schools each? We break it down. So just pick, between now and then, pick 3 or 4 schools that you'd like to be involved with as a liaison. So again, you don't have the right as a CEC member to knock on the door and say, I'm coming here, I come into the school, I demand to, you really need to be respectful of the principals, of the district office. You really, through Carly, would have to ask, you would have to send a message to your school, say, look, I am the representative of, I'm a liaison from the council with your school. And through Carly, if you want to do a meeting with the school, meet the SLTs, you would arrange for that through Carly. Schools kind of take it personally. And I don't know who makes reference as if like your mother-in-law is coming over. That happens, right? You don't want to do that to your school or father-in-law, right?
Well, can I just say one thing? And I want to thank you, Joe, for being very collaborative and also respectful of the schools in how they run. But I also want to let the council know that the history of District 25, working with our CECs, is that our principals really do have wonderful relationships with the CEC. So I don't want you to think, just in terms of that you cannot go into schools, and our principals really do appreciate and value having liaisons from the CEC. And so when Carly sends emails just around asking a principal to establish an appointment, what you're doing is just asking that principal to kind of set a calendar time so they can actually sit and talk with you about what the school is about. Sometimes they take you around and show you classrooms and different things about the building, and then you become that liaison for certain things that you'll see across the year. So for example, when SEA comes, right, or if there's facilities issues, or if There's academic issues, so when all of those different agencies come to address the CEC, you as liaison can speak for the district, but you could also speak for the individual schools that you serve. So just know that principals welcome and actually encourage and expect to connect with their liaisons, but a lot of it's done just for the sake of time for Carly.
I usually, once we do the we pick up what
meetings.
schools you do, I usually send a blast email and I just let the parent coordinator and the principals know this is your liaison, you reach out, and then usually the president of PTA will send me and the SLT will send their calendar dates, and I send them to you individually as like, hey, if you wanna attend this PTA meeting, if you wanna meet with the principals, just you do go to me and I let them know I make the payments for you.
And then Carly also will collect PTA meeting dates.
Yeah.
And she'll send to all of you, and if you choose to go to PTA meetings, DLT meetings, so for whatever school you're liaising, she will create all of that information for you. So however you choose it, you know that PTAs and SLTs are public meetings. So.
Anybody can attend those meetings. So you'll find as a CEC council member that there's a lot going on, and yes, the principals do come to our meetings. The principals are open to working with CECs. I can tell you from past experience, and maybe Anne-Marie and Rushdie also, they do reach out to you if there's an issue with the school that you represent in terms of something going wrong with facilities, because school construction authority and facilities, they come to our meetings and we do a recommendation of jobs that need to be done that we send to them, and although they don't really have to follow it, they do take our recommendations seriously. So it's always good to relate with your school, and you'll find that you'll engage with your community, and it's good. So that's how we know about all the issues going on.
Right, so one of the things offline that I was just saying to Shirley is, when she was asking about PS32 and being overcrowded, depending on if you decide to connect with the schools that you're affiliated with, that's up to you guys. But I said to Shirley, reach out to the principal and go through that process of seeing how a school that may be overcrowded will be organizing in order to open safely in September. And then that's just experience that she brings back to the council for other schools that may be experiencing the same things, right? So, and then you could feel free to reach out to your principals and get that clear picture, the way Shirley is saying that PS32 is one of the schools that we're watching very carefully in order to open safely.
So in the past, Trump, I was the liaison for PS32, so that's how I have experience there. So the principal of that school reached out to me as a liaison. I said, look, we have a problem here at this school. I did a walkthrough of the school. I saw that it was very overcrowded. There were temporary classrooms in the schoolyard. And the principal said, look, SCA is not listening to us. They're saying it's not our problem, it's facilities problem. So I had a meeting with the principal. I invited facilities to come, and SCA, that's okay. Now, point the finger, who's responsible? Let's do a walkthrough. I believe that made a change, right? After that, they approved
He also walked through with facilities around junior high school 189.
And 189
and they're allocating money to fix.
So you bring attention to the community, and you bring these people to and it makes a change. So that's what we're about. So we're all, like I say, we're about improving the schools if we can in whatever capacity we're able to, because we do make recommendations. We don't control them, but we can make a difference if you get the community behind you. So that's what you were saying, Joseph. If you get the community to back you up and you bring attention to it, maybe change will happen. That's the only way we can do it.
By the way, did we decide on the March 2nd date?
I thought we decided that it was, what date do you have?
March 9th.
March 9th is middle school, open school.
Is it?
I think so. March 2nd was middle school is March 9th.
No, we said that March, their teacher conferences for elementary was March 2nd. March 9th is middle school.
Is open school night for middle schools?
It's evening parent-teacher conferences for middle school.
March 9th?
Yes.
So does anybody have a problem doing that? Meeting on Tuesday, March 8th?
If you don't have a middle schooler or District 75, you're good.
Yeah, but the problem is also we have parents, yeah, we have to be respectful of parents.
March 8th is fine.
Is March 8th okay, Tuesday for that particular month?
March 8th.
Yeah, Tuesday.
probably taking notes on this while you fix that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Anything to say, Shirley?
I was sure to say it's okay.
So November 3rd is, we're gonna approve it, but we're not sure yet.
So I thought we decided on November 9th.
So let me reread it to you, and I'll send
I haven't
it.
seen the changes.
Yeah, me too, I have
I'll resend it to you, the clean version, but you should have August 4th, September 14th, October 6th, November 9th, December 1st, January 5th, February 2nd, March 8th, April 6th, May 4th, June 1st, and July 6th.
Perfect.
At 6:30.
Yep.
Okay.
6:30, you'll update this and you'll put it together for next month. Okay, so I think, it's 9:25, I wanna stick to the agenda, I don't wanna, divert too much. Is there any other item of new business that we need to talk about right now, other than what we tabled for next month, which is the liaison with the schools, the location of the future meetings,
Budget.
and we have to talk about our budget. So we do have a budget. Holly will, and also the treasurer will learn about the budget. And we have to allocate our budget starting next month. We can also reallocate it. You'll put the budget in the next folder.
Yeah, I'll speak to Jeff and I'll fix it and then.
We'll talk about that. Right, okay, so what sort of things are on the budget? You wanna tell us, Golly? Everything we do, or money that we spend, comes through our budget, right? Because even now, I'm sorry, Golly, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Every year we get $20,000. Last year we got 25. I think the year before too, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know what it looks like this year. So I'm waiting to speak to my budget person. But for the most part, you pay for reimbursements, you pay for supplies for the office, you pay for just the running of the CEC, you pay for what else do you pay for? Well, sometimes we do, like when we do award ceremonies, that comes from or whatever event that you want to do, that comes from our budget. Sometimes we pay for food, we help if a need comes up, whatever need comes up for from our running of business comes from our budget.
We have a question. We bought computers, right?
Yes.
So did the past members also?
Some have returned, I'm still waiting on some.
So we need to get more computers also, right?
Yeah, so last year, because of the pandemic, we had budgeted money to purchase laptop computers to the CEC council members, which everyone got. I don't think the quality of those computers were well. I think some of them broke, so I'm just asking Julianne if you can find out through Chase, can we use our budget to purchase better computers in the event that we do go remote? Can we get microphones? And do we need some technology if we're gonna do this dual remote, is that something that we could allocate on our budget? I don't know if you know the answer.
Technology, so next month,
Technology for streaming.
it has to be a line added to the budget. So we would have to vote on what exactly that you wanna buy, and then I have to add it.
Okay.
Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
it's not,
we just need to know if these are things that we can add to our budget.
I'm almost positive you can. Carly and I will double check with the.
just have to make a technology line on the budget, that's all. But I have to
Okay.
tell her like how much, that's all.
Okay, so that we'll do next month, we'll allocate our budget and how we spend our money. We also have personal reimbursements. If you paid for transportation to get here, if you have childcare, you would have to prove it. The president would have to sign off on it, and then it would have to be allocated through Carly. Okay, I also have a suggestion, which we can talk about next month. I've learned over the pandemic, we've got a lot of parents that learned a lot about CECs, and we have a website. So maybe we can hire somebody that could work on our website, which would take some pressure off of Carly, and we can keep that updated. So I just want to make sure that we are able to allocate money to that, because we'll entertain any motions to do that. Parents do reach out to us. Parents should know about CEC. So if we have a really nice website, that would help. Or we just need to get the word out there about CEC and CEC's function. You're all on. I'm sure you knew what CEC was before you got here, but a lot of people don't know about CEC. So we need to get the word out. A website's wonderful. Perhaps we could do something else to give to the parents that they know there's a CEC out here we represent parents in the community for their concerns, and they should reach out to us. So we get, it's mandated by law how much money we get, but we as a council vote on how we allocate
Right,
the
but who
budget.
tells us like you're getting 25 last year,
Like
20
budget person.
the budget? Oh, okay.
Is the budget, who does the budget? Is it mandated by law?
It's not by law, I think it's by the city.
Is it the city or the state who gives us the money?
I don't think it's the state.
It's the city,
So
right?
they could say this year you get 15,000, like, so there's someone that's just gonna say this is what you get, that's.
They've never given, I don't think they've ever given less than 20,000.
Or since I've been here, they haven't.
So if we don't use it, we lose it, right? So we always have extra money, so I think we should use it, right? We did great things last year because of the computer, but the pandemic shut us down, we couldn't do an award ceremony, so I'd suggest, let's think about it and we'll talk about it next month and use the money before, it's only for 1 year. We're here for 2 years, so we get a budget every year, okay? Any other items of new business? So our bylaws have been amended where we have to do 2 calendar meetings for special education. The first one has to be before November, is that what it said? Before November, so we're gonna have to plan about a special education meeting, and the second one has to be before the June meeting. So we'll talk about that next month. We don't really have much of an agenda other than these housekeeping items for next month, but if you have anything that you want to bring up for our next meeting, please contact me or let Carly know, and if we can accommodate, we will bring it up at the next meeting. But I think starting in August, we'll start dealing with the future agenda of what we handle in our meetings, okay? We just have to finish these housekeeping things. All right? Is there anyone that has anything else they'd like to bring up as new business? Are there any motions to adjourn our business meeting? Henry made the motion, Rushdie seconded it, and so did Michelle. Okay, so the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
That was my first motion ever, by the way.
All right, congratulations, welcome, congratulations, council members, and we'll see you on August 2nd here. Sorry, August 4th.